Come here, Mr. Musky. Or Mrs. Musky, you know? I'm not trying to be sexist about the fish. I do find it interesting that the smaller, sportier muskies will oftentimes be referred to as him. He came out of it also oftentimes, if you don't net it. Sporty fella. Yeah, he was angry. Something like that. And then when you boat a big muskie, it's she was cow ready for slaughter. She was so fat. She had udders where her fin should be. She was just ready to, I don't know, that it's not a phrase. That isn't a phrase, all right? My daughter saw a picture of me wearing a suit that's the only time she's ever seen me wearing a suit. And she said, "What's that?" I said, "That is a suit." She said, "Huh, why are you wearing that?" I said, "Well, for a while, for a couple decades of Daddy's life, he put a suit on and drank as much as humanly possible until he was able to smoke cigarettes if you couldn't do that while drinking, depending on the establishment. And then ultimately it would probably get some unhealthy food. And it's what you would call, sweetie, falling asleep. In the suit? Yep, I'm in the suit. Did you take your shoes off? Nope. Why not? It didn't cross my mind. Where did you sleep? It didn't really... I slept in a bed. Did you sleep in your bed? Yeah, I mean, sometimes. It wasn't a bed, but yeah. Okay. So that's suits. That's why people whenever you see someone wearing a suit, they are getting ready to go drink. I mean, almost like it's a competition. And or there will be no alcohol. What's alcohol? Just be quiet. I'm getting fired up. You drink like the bar is gonna run out of booze forever. And this next beer is this is actually a girl I dated in college told me that me and my friends drank like the bar was going to run out of beer. And I thought, that's a pretty accurate and clever way of describing alcoholism. I'm addicted to I'm not addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to good times. That's what my friend Miles would say. We're doing very degenerate stuff, bonging beers, other things that college kids do. Just dudes, of course. And man, it's you guys. And he would like kind of reach out and like give people some pats on the shoulders, be like, I'm not addicted to alcohol. I'm just addicted to having fun with my friends. Well, sorry about that. Someone's face is going to be a little sore. Didn't feel musky-y, but... So not a giant lure, but I mean, first of all, definitely big enough. Second of all, this is my favorite lure for, at least for clients, for trout, for fish in rivers, for trout, smallmouth, in the like meh size. This is the big dog. And I had a muskie when I was doing this through some log jams, just T-bone it. And I was waiting for him to have it, and then he was swimming away. Maybe could have done something, but, well, that's life, isn't it? We're going to go for a little bit of a run here. Today's song is Wang Chung. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody have fun tonight. Yeah, what have I even done? Gonna have a kid in a month or two. I'm not going to, but someone I know is. And, well, I mean, that feels discriminatory. A lot of people are gonna have kids in the next couple months. I guess I've caught some muskie. Been mousing. Mousing's fun. Book your trip. Come fish with me. I mean, whatever. If you're gonna come in October, I'm not gonna say that's a bad idea, but sooner the better. And the closer we are there, the more we're going to be fishing for muskie. The guiding fishing guides oftentimes base their self-worth on, you know, picture the fish. And if they don't have clients, or if they don't know what the fuck they're doing, which is, you know, those two descriptors cover fishing guides. Good fish in the boat is... It's not completely just blindly hoping, but it is. And so, brown trout for the uninitiated, for those who have done a good job of staying away from trout fishing, brown trout spawn, and these, you know, multiple fish of a lifetime will be like right there. Not in this river, but you can see them plain as day. They're fucking parked, and they're just moving their fins around, trying to sweep all that gravel and sediment off the eggs. And so, for the aforementioned, don't know what they're doing and also don't have trips, which, look, I mean, obviously, my calendar's not overflowing. Book your trip at elliswardflies.com. The spawn provides an opportunity to get pictures of big fish that will then be utilized to get clients for the rest of the year. How do I know this? Let's just say it's painfully obvious. I had to stop following like every guide outside of a couple folks. I had a client text message me. He goes, this dude with a client who looks like his first time, like it was both his first time in the wilderness and in his Patagonia, I want to say romper, like a onesie. I also, in my mind's eye, this client is wearing earmuffs and mittens with, his name is for sure written in the back of that. Minners! Written in the back of the onesie romper. And it's not for if he loses the romper. It's because he'll wander off. And he doesn't have the faculties aren't present, or they don't work, or something like that, to where he would be able to make it out of like the supermarket, a parking lot. I mean, just helpless and in a romper is how I would describe this person holding a mid to low 30s brown trout. And it just doesn't have, I know exactly where it's like the least fishy conditions ever, low water. So they're right, it's like right there. You just have to put some shit near them. And yeah, my client texted me this picture and goes, "Where was this?" And he's asking South Holston or Watauga, "Where did he get this fish?" And I replied with, "Off of a red," which I thought was both clever and accurate. "Where was this from?" That is from a spawning bed. Here's an interesting observation. I'll tell people, I feel like I've used this one already. That brown trout dig yellow. That's a Kelly Gallupism. And honestly, a reason I think that for one reason or another, like because I want to be, I don't know, contrarian or not just blindly drinking Kool-Aid. That water's for all my trips. Plus, I just don't really like yellow. So I found that color doesn't really matter. And by doesn't really, what I mean is color doesn't matter. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it does, but I do tan and white. I think those are pretty good little analogs? Analogy. Yeah, analogs. For yellow. It's something you can see. I mean, I know like white doesn't look natural, quote unquote, but oh, goodness gracious. You throw in that like sunburst yellow. So, but here's the deal. Here's why I think brown trout, quote unquote, dig yellow. Or quote unquote brown trout, quote unquote, dig, quote unquote, yellow. Maybe yellow's not air quoted. They also dig white, and they also dig olive with some good copper flash. I mean, especially with those flies, which are relatively simple, and then if you buy them, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot when you get them commercially. Because it's again, no, I don't knock the hustle of someone in Vietnam making a living tying flies. It's just they don't fish trout streams with a fly rod. Also, that feels insensitive. I just think that between their 18 hours of work per day and their hour and a half commute and working 6 days a week, they're not like banging the banks with streamers. Also, that does feel entitled, but we're just gonna go with it. Point being, some of those flies are just it's just something moving through the water that it's not super small, and there might be a little bit of a jig action. Since I know everything and I'm the best, obviously what I do is the best. I tie dungeons with pretty sparse heads. I want to get fucking tuned up. What was I talking about? Yellow? It's not about yellow, is it? Yep. No, it's about you guys. The old shallow runner. Yeah, so I want something that I can see. Preferably, like I'm gonna if I can get people to fish the drunk and disorderly, that's definitely what I want. Depending on the situation, there are days. As much as I love my swim bug, which, as mentioned, relax. Lots of borrowed stuff from Tommy Lynch on basically getting a drunk that doesn't dive, is a little easier to cast, and that log fucked with me, and has a little bit more of a narrower, I want to say quieter presentation. Not that the drunk has to be loud, it just I like to tie them loudly. So here I am, creating solutions to problems that I create. But isn't that the American way? Like we got gas stations everywhere, and it's just because we got so many cars. I think that might be the dumbest thing I could have thought for a problem we create that we're also solving. Oh God, I think you could probably just describe like my fishing and tying as that. Okay, so here's something that affects almost no one and is subject to so many different environmental circumstances. Let's identify it as a problem and work towards a solution. Now, what's fun about that, what's fun about tying, fishing, guiding, is there is enough of that wiggle room where, who fucking knows, right? Are they going to eat a single no flash beadhead black woolly bugger when they just ate a triple drunk? I don't know. We can't go back in time, and there's no A/B testing there. I will say that the way a brown trout erupts, with the swim bug sometimes through the surface. Check that? Fact check? Okay. They don't do that with a woolly bugger. And more tangential thoughts. My buddy John is open for business. Call him and order a bunch of stuff online. That's something you should do in all seriousness. Now, I think they're going to have the online stuff over the winter. Bucktail will be available there. And I actually have a bunch that I've kind of been sitting on because this was the first year where I had a bunch of bucktail, and I was like, oh, I can start next year or just like keep selling little bits at a time, which is what I've been doing. Jesus, dude, get fucking destroyed. It'd be a tough hook set. Yeah, first time since I've been doing bucktail where like I wasn't exceedingly broke. So I was like, all right, I'll be broke later, so we'll say this. Ellis, you should sell the bucktail and then invest that money. Get returns. That'd be a tough set over there. Yep. Oh my God. So, hooks popping out like that from junk. Yes, that means they're less grabby. Like a bucktail or a big glide bait is going to get fucking stuck forever where that thing was. But a couple things. I actually just got a large order of shit from Lure Parts Online. I'm making bucktails. Ooh, those will be on the website. But one of the things that I got was a bunch of 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0. Really, a lot of 3/0s and 4/0s to replace a lot of the 6/0s and 7/0s, because I don't like when clients have a muskie eat their lure and they have a hard time setting the hook because they're trying to put a kebab skewer into a mouth that is made to just walk around. But they walk now. It's just made to hang out with a carp in it. Marry, fuck, kill. Muskie, brown trout, carp. I'm not even sure it would be advisable. Jesus. I feel like the smart move for someone who has self-worth and, you know, a secure attachment style and wants a little bit of stability, maybe settle down, raise a family. You want someone who's like, you're not the one always reminding, kids' doctor's appointments today. Are you gonna get out of bed? Or just, no, I'm not saying don't drink. It's just, you know. Yeah, I know you love me. That feels good. Now, and if you want a life that doesn't look like that, I think you marry the brown trout. But you know that if you're trying to keep things interesting throughout your marriage, if you know what I'm saying, obviously you're choosing the carp. And then muskie, I feel like, is probably going to be most of the viewers of this, because people who like to fish tend to be low self-esteem, addicted to various substances, in denial about both of those things. Maybe doing it as a hobby, but really like it a lot more than their actual job or their actual home or their real life. And please, just next time I'm going to a stream, can a phone pole? I can't bring myself to crash. Something just drop for me, please. I feel like everyone in that department is going to be, you marry the muskie. It's fun. It's unpredictable. It's exciting. It's so fucking frustrating. And then it's awesome. I mean, it's the picture perfect relationship. You don't want you get feedback from a brown trout. One of the hallmarks of a healthy relationship and training dogs. Oh, god damn it. The big bass. One of the hallmarks of a healthy relationship is going to be consistent feedback. So if I eat all of the Velveeta, and the last time I ate all the Velveeta, it was received poorly, I can expect that my having eaten an entire block of Velveeta will generate an unhappy partner, and clear communication about it. Hey, I didn't like that you ate that whole block of Velveeta. I actually don't even know why I keep getting blocks of Velveeta, but it seems more psychological than dietary, and I'm worried about you. And I'll say, how about you stop telling me what to fucking do? But it's consistent. You get that feedback. One person understands, generally speaking, what the other one's going to do. And if, oh dear, if there are deviations from the plan, you talk about it, but you both know you're there, you know? Both humans recognize that there is another human being there, and you guys talk to each other like humans. And Musky, is it that we don't know if they're there, or if I don't know if I'm here? Carp, I feel like it's just gonna be kind of a, just fucking, you know, whatever, dude. I'm gonna go bananas every once in a while. Not a lot of whole people, you know, not a whole lot of people like me, but the ones who do know me and like me really like me and respect me for what I offer, what I bring to the table. And you don't have to worry about anyone else. You know, I'm not stepping out as a carp. Threatening to size up, given that being the second bass, but man, plus we have a little more open water coming up. This thing is fun for the log jams, because when you're retrieving something that is made from balsa, when it's coming up on a snag like here, let it float. Just get crushed. Just get crushed by a 47-inch muskie. Ideally through the surface. Another reason I like this bait, that big old square bill. Kind of like deer hair heads on Bufords, or on articulated Bufords. You get up to a log and you can kind of bump it, and it just, the whole thing moves over it. Versus the glide bait. I might need to do a little glide. Jesus Christ. We don't know about that. Sure didn't look like a muskie. That's the thing. Fishing clear water and 3.5 foot fish eating your lure. You can normally, you know, fish in the deeper pools in winter, especially with flies, where you're giving them a nice slow retrieve. My buddy Matt Riley will occasionally text me and inform me that the phantom sticks are back, and that would be a pool like this with just, there's no wood where he is, and It's the fly is 5 feet in a 9-foot pool, right in the dead center of it. And the guy goes, up, up. And it's like, what's that? I'm not sure. It's just kind of felt like a stick. Oh yeah, was it? Was that a stick right here in this musky home? Yeah, all right. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. That's what happens in my head. Like, if I'm talking to you and you're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's good. My daughter's doing Taekwondo. Business is going okay. I'll never be happy with anything that I do. So regardless of what I say, it doesn't really matter. How are you? I'm not there. I'm nowhere near present. I'm going, my well face is your baby boo. You can't sleep. And here I was thinking that I had Wang Chung stuck in my head, which maybe I still do. Yeah, you get nothing from me. You get a facade. You get the superficial. It's like front end versus back end, right? You're the fucking kill me. You're the front end user. I don't know if that's true. You have the user interface. The back end, you need an advanced degree in both computer science, psychiatry, probably some sort of like, if you're going in there, you should come with religion. So I'm guessing like a can't sleep. Feels pretty unfishy out here. But I had a fun little experiment in When Will the Muskie Eat with my boy Josh, wherein we fished in full sun in the morning. And like through the fucking intense part of a storm, and then full sun in the afternoon. I was ripping one out today and big bucktail fucking flew through my legs. When will the muskie eat? Apparently full sun. Bouncing over logs. How about we do a little the Saskatchewan dong wobbler. You know, this bait is fun to cast in all sizes. Its castability relative to its size, it just, even in the little guys, man. Fishing 10-pound braid, you can fucking zing those things. Which is nice because a lot of the lures are hard to cast distance, which in turn sort of makes it difficult to get the pitch shots. Man, I had some folks a couple weeks ago that just, you want to call it 80-20 or just not good at fishing, whichever one works for you. They could get it kind of there, but like that's not what we're doing. I think the sun was like 14, stuck 4 fish, 118, 120. Dad was just fucking, we probably lost $100 worth of lures and he didn't tip me. So shout out, whoever you are for that. That was fun. That was fun for your son to land a... Do I sound sour about that? The only reason I'm sour, it happens, right? People aren't aware that the tipping's normal, and I mean, Dad didn't catch any fish. He fucking sucked at fishing, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, I just followed up like, hey, just to avoid misunderstandings, wanted to make sure that you knew we can, settle up tip via Venmo. And then he didn't reply for a day, and I was like, hey, just would appreciate a reply here. I can understand that the fishing was hard, which, it kind of was. You just had to get it into the fucking juice. They were eating. He was doing the self. He put himself in timeout and just break off a lure for the nth time in 10 or 15 minutes, and then just sit down, not ask me for another one. I'm still grabbing for it because I'm an enabler. I also wanted to catch a fucking fish, so. Because, wouldn't you know it, something about him read, he needs to catch a fish in order to think that this is, I don't know, God forbid you, look, there's a market for it. I'm not going to say there isn't, because I know there is, but the concept of, oh my God, the concept of I don't really fish and I want to catch a muskie, I don't see that. Matt, it sounds like sees that. I've heard from some other musky guides who are a little more established and on bigger rivers that on fly, like, okay. Do you have a good attitude? My hand, well, dancing, yeah, it's whatever I'm talking about is here, and then it's gone, and then something might come back. I was talking about musky fishing. Oh yeah, this it's like a guided skiing trip. Let's go on a guided. No, you don't do that. You get skiing lessons. Which, I mean, for people that aren't as good at fishing as they want to be, I love teaching. And FYI, as much of a douche as I can sound, I don't care if people have never fished or don't even like fishing. I still find ways to make our time on the water fun. And of course, if you're a psychopath, that's fun too. Maybe you're a psychopath and you don't fish. Perfect. Oh yeah, I just noticed that when I'm guiding, I frequently lie to people. And I'll say, I try to do a Kelly Gallup impression, even though they don't tie, haven't watched this video. Brown trout dig yellow, man. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like get it up under that. Right where those yellow flowers are growing. They're like, what? They like the flowers? And I was like, well, kind of, but it's because the flowers are yellow. Really? Like, yeah, they're kind of gold. I rarely hold on to it for much longer than that. But I just noticed that those flowers, they look like daisies. They're not. Just making stuff up. They're just yellow. They tend to grow on banks that they got the right stuff going on. It's like that. It's not ripping water. There's a little bit of depth. There's still some speed. It's not a cliff, but it's also not super gradual. So I'm not really sure if I'm making all of this up, which more and more here's the thing. If that is the case, who fucking cares anyways, right? Like if I'm the one that's seeing these yellow flowers corresponding to places where brown trout generally hang out and will presumably eat things that are casted near them, if that's my experience and I'm just making it all up, good for me. It's like if I'm just eating that block of Velveeta and thinking that it's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, it's like, dude, sure, I might be in need of hospitalization, but I think that's pretty fucking cool. We're already having wind issues in September. It's gonna be okay, everyone. Fuck. It's not going to be okay. Everything is fucked. We did have some gusts today that made me think bad thoughts. Made me feel bad feelings. And I would say, well, the wind didn't make me feel bad feelings, but I felt bad feelings, and it was when this and this happened, and probably because of childhood trauma and unresolved. No, the wind is fucking annoying, and it makes me angry, and I think bad thoughts and feel bad feelings. Can you just imagine if this is what's happening when presumably I will be putting this on YouTube. Just imagine the thoughts for the last, 4 or 5 hours, or for the hundreds and hundreds of hours where sometimes I'll have a podcast on. I really am. I feel like a fucking psychopath these moments. I'll have a podcast on and I'll get a call and playing it through my headphones and something will happen, or I don't know, listen to music and then something happens. And I'll just sit there with my headphones on like an autistic toddler for, upwards of an hour. I started talking with headphones on. Maybe people think that I'm being conscientious of my hearing since I'm on a jet boat. Spoiler alert, I'm not. I don't know if that's attention span or something else, but I'll tell you this much. Not going to address it. That doesn't make the cut. We have bigger fish to fry. But seriously. Heavens to Betsy. For the first 2 years I was here, this is year 5. For the first 2 years I was here, I was learning this river, and presumably, or maybe allegedly, about the muskies presumed to be in this river with a drift boat and a fly rod. And I've done a lot of, there's no blueprint for this. Move to a new city, start guiding on your own, and kind of just focus on streamer fishing, but also I love dry flies and spin fishing and musky fishing and mousing. So there's no blueprint to this. And the way that folks fish the tailwaters is it's 8 to 4. It's very, you do this flow, this run, this. And so not to be a dick about it, it's just, I didn't want to take that. I didn't want to, same thing with the yellow. I just don't want to blindly say, oh, well, so-and-so said that, this and that. I want to see that mousing with all other conditions held constant, which just doing that, you're talking, it's a lot of days. All other conditions held constant. Same place, flows, generally speaking, clarity, weather, no moon versus big moon up in the sky. I want to see and feel that sucks ass. And I did. I did do that. I caught fish. I've caught fish on a full moon. I've had tough nights with good moons. But largely speaking, and this is like before I guide, I want to be able to say, this is the case, and this is what we're doing, and here's our plan. And as much as fishing can be, whatever, you get here and it sucks, or you get here and it's the best day of fishing of your life, or somewhere in between, based on nothing we can control. I'd like to control and plan for our day. Like, I'm not gonna. Last week I had a guy wanting to fish streamers, and I'm like, dude, we don't have water. And the South Holston might do a push late, but then we would just be fishing the upper, and like, come on. He's fished a lot. Let's mouse. And he was like, all right. So I'm not just gonna be like, all right, meet me at the McDonald's at 7:30. Because most of the time, especially in the summer, Jesus, sure, you can get some of that low light in the morning, maybe some bug activity, but God, like 11 to 3, I don't want to be on the river. I fished a dad and son a couple weeks ago who were awesome. And when I picked them up, I had forgotten my net, so I went over to John at Tailwaters Fly Co. over in Bluff City. I was like 15 minutes out of the way. It was just a dog shit day. And I was not in a hurry. And then we get there, and I was like, I got the net from John, and I was like, I came back out to the car. John was just setting up the shop. And these dudes, I know the kid ties. And that's like, dude, tying is how I got into all this. Like, I'm still very much there. It's why I make bucktail as nice as I make it. Because it's nice to have that good tie material. Whatever, even if it's a 3.5 to 4 inch tail, I'd like that hide to be slightly flexible. I want it to smell good. I don't want to bleach it, all that stuff. I'm like, you guys want to pop in the shop for a second? And they get out, and the dad was like, yeah, no use in being out on the river right now. And then they both sort of look up at the sky. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like that. Although, according to data from last week, the muskies eat in bluebird conditions with clear water. I can't believe we didn't get a fish in the boat. I had one eat one of these dong wobblers, and the thing's cut. Just slashed at it. My buddy, I won't mention his name, Josh, got a full commitment eat on a lure that he has had, I can't tell you how many follows on. Really, I mean 50, 60? I really don't know. I gotta think one of those is eaten. Full commitment eat. I was going for the net, but I didn't, we're just in that big set head shake. I was like, fuck yeah. And it's gone. Shit. But I think we moved 7 or 8. I had a TBD, like maybe pickerel, maybe a weird musky where I didn't see the body. Now, if you were a client, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was a musky. That was a musky. Good job. Good job, me. Good job guiding. No, those phantom logs are tough because it's like, shit, dude. You didn't do anything, and maybe that was a musky, and now we won't know. And so if there are no other fish caught, that's a big difference. Like trout fishing, you get, streamer fishing on a really hard day, really, really hard. You're only moving a couple. Like I mean, that's like top. That's legitimately 1 in 100. It's normally, a normal tough day, I would say you move 10 to 15 and they might be swipey or something if it's just something ain't right. And then, get 2 or 3 in the boat just because that swipiness, that conversion rate isn't really high. But you get feedback. You're getting that consistent feedback because the relationship with a brown trout is healthy and secure. And they know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing. There's variances. We all have our moods. Sometimes one of us isn't doing our best, isn't putting forth what it could be putting forth. And so feedback varies, but it's still present. And you have the opportunity to say, all right, I see you. With musky, that feedback is less regular. And then back to Mary Fuck Kill, it's like with carp. You see them, like they're right there. They're like, oh fucking, you want to get down right now? Let's go. And then other times they're right there and they're like, I'm going to run away with all my friends. Well, but are you going to come back? Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back here and I will get down. All right. It's time to go. Not entirely true. I'm going to run back upstream, fish another couple spots. Maybe catch a giant muskie right here. Come do this on my boat with me. Well, I mean, I guess maybe with me. If it's just you, I'll probably fish a little bit. But otherwise, come do this in front of me. Come do what I'm doing in front of me and pay me for it. It will be fun. Why do I do it?